What is up, everybody? Murray Chat. Got some gaming news to go over with you in this episode. So, Sony, for a second year in a row, has decided to be a no-show at this year's upcoming E3 2020. This will be the second no-show at E3, which will give the Xbox Series X center stage, according to Phil Spencer. I've been looking at this in all different directions, and as exciting as E3 is, and I call it the Christmas of video games, the Super Bowl of video games, it's not really the way it was, how it was your one and only gaming source of news or gaming event of the year. There's so many more events. And Sony even said, we're going to be doing hundreds of other events. Sony has their own now. The PlayStation Experience, they have the State of Play. Everybody does digital now, digital directs. There was a time where Microsoft and Sony used to make fun of Nintendo for doing directs. Now they all do it. Now it's okay. They have Gamescom now. All these other gaming events, PAX, and even like Evo and these fighting events. They have so many ways to make announcements. And they could just have a PlayStation 5 press conference, keynote. It doesn't have to be E3. That's the good side of it. So just think, because Sony's not doing release date, you're going to get your pre-order date, you're going to get your info, you're just not going to get it at E3. And I made this prediction. The last E3 that Sony did, I said, you watch. Sony's not going to do an E3 for the next couple of years because of this disaster. Remember that disaster where all the journalists were getting mad because they had to get up and leave and go to another stage, and Sony had this huge intermission, and the whole entire show was a disaster at E3. I knew this was going to come. They would rather go and do their own thing. And back in the day, that would be hard because E3 was such a prominent presence in the gaming industry. But because of the way things are now and how everybody does their own thing and now everybody's going digital, you can do that. You can afford to skip E3. I don't think it's going to really bother them. I don't think it's going to mean anything. It sucks. It would have been nice. But you could get info before E3. They could have their own thing before or right after. I said this last year. It's not the end of the world. I predicted this was going to happen. I think that, sadly, this may be the future heading in. I mean, with everybody doing their own thing and these digital directs and these other gaming conferences, E3 may be in trouble if they don't, come up with something. Because, if you would have told me years ago Sony's skipping E3, I would have lost my shit. But skip forward to now, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how they roll out the PS5 info, and we'll see how they show off their games. I mean, we already got The Last of Us 2 coming out in May, which is before E3. So that'll be out already. So, it's mostly going to be console-driven, this E3. Microsoft's going to be talking about their box. And, probably maybe a release date, pre-orders, what's coming out for it, what's the launch lineup. We already know that there's not going to be exclusives for it for the next few years. We know that. Which is good news, I guess, for people that own an Xbox One. Or that just bought the X. Or PC players. I guess that's good for them, right? But I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I really don't. We got some game delays, guys. This was going to happen. Square Enix delays Final Fantasy VII Remake and Avengers game until late in 2020. Final Fantasy VII, not too bad. It's now due out in April 10th as opposed to March, so that's not bad. However, Avengers is now coming out in September as opposed to, what was it, May, right? September 4th. I mean, this is kind of May 15th to September 4th, and March 3rd to April 10th. That's not that big of a deal. That's not that big of a deal at all. I wouldn't lose sleep over that. And you know what? March is going to be insane with Animal Crossing. I mean, yeah, game delays they're expected. But you know what? Final Fantasy delay isn't that bad. Now, Avengers, you got a little bit of a ways to wait. But even that's not that bad. I guess it sucks. But you know what? That's a good thing if they're fixing it. So, I am looking forward to both of those games. And again, like I said, guys, as far as Sony not showing up at E3, I wouldn't lose sleep over it. You may even find out what you want before E3. You know? Remember how they did their own thing even for the launch of the PS4. So, you might get some show dedicated to the PS5. You know? We'll see. Let's see how this winds up working out for them in the end. All right? Thank you for joining me on this episode of Merry Chat. Until the next time, Merry out.